Markdown is a lightweight markup language with plain text formatting syntax. It is designed so that it can be converted to HTML and many other formats using a tool by the same name. Markdown is often used to format readme files, for writing messages in online discussion forums, and to create rich text using a plain text editor. As the initial description of Markdown contained ambiguities and unanswered questions, many implementations and extensions of Markdown appeared over the years to answer these issues. History. John Gruber created the Markdown language in 2004 in collaboration with Aaron Swartz on the syntax, with the goal of enabling people to write using an easy-to-read, easy-to-write plain text format, and optionally convert it to structurally valid XHTML or HTML. Quote, "The key design goal is readability, that the language be readable as is, without looking like it has been marked up with tags or formatting instructions. Unlike text formatted with a markup language, such as rich text format, RTF, or HTML, which have obvious tags and formatting instructions. To this end, its main inspiration is the existing conventions for marking up plain text in email, though it also draws from earlier markup languages, notably Satext, Textile, and restructured text." Gruber wrote a Perl script, Markdown, place, which converts marked up text input to valid, well-formed XHTML or HTML and replaces left-pointing angle brackets, less than, and ampersands, and, with their corresponding character entity references. It can be used as a standalone script, as a plugin for Bloxam, a movable type, or as a text filter for Bedit. Markdown has since been re-implemented by others as a Perl module available on CPAN, Text, Markdown, and in a variety of other programming languages. It is distributed under a BSD-style license and is included with, or available as a plugin for, several content management systems. Sites such as GitHub, Bitbucket, Reddit, Diaspora, Stack Exchange, OpenStreetMap, and SourceForge use variants of Markdown to facilitate discussion between users. Standardization. There is no clearly defined Markdown standard, apart from the original write-up and implementation by John Gruber, which some consider abandonware. This has led to fragmentation as different vendors write their own variants of the language to correct flaws or add missing features. A number of other lightweight markup languages extend Markdown by adding features such as tables, footnotes, definition lists, and Markdown inside HTML blocks, not available in the original Markdown syntax. Among these are Markdown Extra, Multi-Markdown, and the Pandoc Markdown extension. The original Markdown implementation interprets constructs like my_long_ variable as a request to emphasize long. Many users found this confusing, so many later implementations such as PHP Markdown and Python Markdown do not implement middle word emphasis with underscores. BabelMark2 is a tool available to compare the output of various implementations to promote discussion of how and whether certain vague aspects of the Markdown spec should be clarified. Gruber has argued that complete standardization would be mistaken. Different sites and people have different needs. No one syntax would make all happy. Quote, "In March 2016 RFC 7763 and RFC 7764 were published. RFC 7763 introduced MIME-type text Markdown with the original variant. RFC 7764 discusses and registered the variants Multi-Markdown, GFM, Pandoc, Common Mark, and Markdown Extra among others. Common Mark. From 2012, a group of people including Jeff Atwood launched what Atwood characterized as a standardization effort. A community website now aims to document various tools and resources available to document authors and developers, as well as implementers of the various Markdown implementations. In September 2014, Gruber objected to the usage of Markdown in the name of this effort, and it was rebranded as a new dialect named Common Mark. Common Mark.org published several versions of the specification, reference implementation, and test suite, and plans to announce a finalized 1.0 spec and test suite in 2017. Quote, in 2017, GitHub released a formal specification of their GitHub-flavored Markdown that is based on Common Mark. It follows the Common Mark specification exactly except for tables, strike-through, auto-links and task lists, which the GitHub spec has added as extensions. Markdown Extra. Markdown Extra is a lightweight markup language based on Markdown implemented in PHP. Originally Python and Ruby, it adds features not available with plain Markdown syntax. Markdown Extra is supported in content management systems. For example, Drupal, TYPO3 and MediaWiki. It adds the following features to Markdown. Markdown inside HTML blocks. Elements with id class attribute. Fenced code blocks. Tables. Definition lists. Footnotes. Abbreviations. Example. Implementations. Implementations of Markdown are available for over a dozen programming languages. In addition, many platforms and frameworks support Markdown. For example, Markdown plugins exist for every major blogging platform. While Markdown is a minimal markup language and is easily read and edited with a normal text editor, there are specially designed editors that preview the files with styles, which are available for all major platforms. Many general-purpose text and code editors have syntax highlighting plugins for Markdown built into them or available as optional download. Editors may feature a side-by-side preview window or render the code directly in a WYSIWYG fashion. The source code documentation generated Oxygen supports Markdown with extra features. RStudio, an IDE for R, provides a C++ wrapper function for a Markdown variant called Sundown. GitHub-flavored Markdown, GFM, treats new lines in paragraph-like content as real line breaks, ignores underscores in words, and adds syntax highlighting, task lists, and tables. Discount AC implementation. Markapl is a converter written in Dialog APL. It supports fenced blocks, smart typography, link references, and special attributes, and can generate a table of contents. PHP Markdown, a library package that includes the PHP Markdown parser and its sibling PHP Markdown Extra with additional features. Markdown, a .NET library which follows the Common Mark specifications, and has a large collection of extensions with the ability for the user to create their own. See also. ASCII-Doc. Supports many document types. Restructured text. Another powerful document markup language. Org mode. Text to tags. Wiki markup. Comparison of document markup languages. Comparison of documentation generators. Discord. Software. Utilizes Markdown formatting for text chat. Official website. Babel Mark II. Markdown implementation comparison. RFC 7763. The text, Markdown media type. RFC 7764. Guidance on Markdown.